Welcome back, everyone. Another Drinks with Drake. Today I have two of the head honchos of our company, Zoom, our CEO. Thanks for coming on. Very stern handshake.
Welcome.
Matt Meekoff, one of the most OG guy we have here, right?
Absolutely.
How many years you got under your belt now?
Well, the whole time, 20.
20 years. You know, I was 2 years old when this company came out, so things come full circle nowadays, you know what I mean? Keep us young. Today we got Grey Goose Vodka. This is Matt Meekoff choice, so Grey Goose Vodka and Red Bull. Zoom, go ahead and share what you're drinking. I guess it's good for the mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, protein shake, some greens and some instant coffee and some protein.
Maybe that's what I should jump into instead of drinking every time I get on the podcast.
I don't know, you might not like the taste of it.
No? All right,
Probably
maybe
not.
you just tell me when to stop. All right, I'll pass that to him. I'll make mine. You know, Grey Goose is a little above my my pay grade of what I pay for vodka, so I'm kind of gonna enjoy this one. Let's just get into it. Oh, cheers! Thanks for coming on. Cheers. Yeah. Well, ninja. Okay. Jump right into it. Matt Meekoff, you do a lot of things here. Obviously, you're pretty high up on the pedestal here. What exactly do you do every day?
It's pretty random.
Really?
I solve problems.
Problem solver. I feel like that's one of the things that we need here at ZZP. When I got hired in, one of the first questions was, "Are you a problem solver?" So I guess that works out.
Yeah.
What's like your job title?
Engineering, product development. I do a lot of tuning.
Tuning.
Probably spend the majority of my time tuning.
You enjoy it?
Yeah.
What's your favorite car you tune?
Man, probably the V's, the ATS V's tune real well.
ATS?
Yeah.
What about you, Zoom?
I don't tune anymore.
Yeah.
That was like Grand Prix days.
But like when you like to do development and stuff.
That's my favorite thing. It
Yeah.
is. And it's like Matt said, it's problem solving. And really that's what our whole company does is people bring us their problems and then we dissect and solve it. And a lot of times it's not just the customer that brings us the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's other vendors, it's other manufacturers, it's other companies. We really like to solve problems and chew through stuff, even for GM. I mean, that's kind of the foundation of our company and primarily doing GM stuff. A lot of the parts that we develop and things that we're doing on the cars are solving issues that become prevalent and people are become aware of after production in the GM vehicles.
So obviously you two are some pretty competitive guys. Obviously you guys do like you said R&D, development, tuning. How does that fare up against like our competition? You know, from the beginning of ZZP to now, have we had like an influx of like competition came, we overran, competition went down, then it comes back up? Is it like a wave or? I mean, we've always been at the top, but.
Well, it's market specific. So if you're talking about a large platform like, say, the LS market,
right,
competition is very different because the market's large and you've got 100 vendors out there and all kinds of people with top tier talent. But traditionally, ZZP has been involved in niche markets where you only have a handful of competitors, you know, one or two really good players, sometimes no good competition, and it may feel sometimes like you don't want to have competition, but competition actually drives the markets and it pushes you to excellence. And when you see what someone else is achieving and doing and you want to beat it, and every day you want to get to work a little earlier, stay a little later to get results, you really tend to excel. And that's where, like Matt and I, you know, we both have competitive spirits in the sport, and that's where it really comes out. And the 3800 market where we built the company had a lot of smaller scale competitors, and that was really good for us kind of growing into the business. And then we had one major competitor that emerged, and they were stronger in some ways and weaker in other ways, and that is what drove us to build the company that we did.
Yeah.
And we eventually emerged victorious there, but not easily.
Yeah.
It was a long battle. It was was a tough win. That's where Matt built his 8-second Grand Prix.
Whew.
That was a max effort car.
So that was yours, or that was your car, but you built it for him? Which one was that?
That was my car.
Oh, and you just smoked everybody.
Eventually.
Okay, be honest. Did you really like the look of a 3800?
Yeah.
You loved it.
Yeah. Zoom let me drive his 99 when it was brand new, and
Just fell in love.
it was the nicest car out for the price.
Holy
Easily.
smokes. 3800, I don't know if it was like because when it came out I was like 5, but like I don't know. I feel like the cars that we have now are like the Camaros and stuff. Like those are like my favorite cars to see here, and you guys are still stuck on the 3800.
I don't know that we're stuck on the 3800. You know,
But you guys are like that's like your foundation.
well, there's
like, we
nostalgia
love
there
30.
because
Yeah.
you know what you built the company on and what really got you into the sport. You're always going to have a love for it. You
That's
know,
true.
obviously, you know the technology has gotten a lot better. So you get in a new ATSV, you know, it's night and day. You know, better than the 3800 Grand Prix. But it's apples and oranges because you know you're 20 years in advancement in technology, and the ATSV is also an $80-some thousand car.
It's expensive.
Yeah, the Grand Prix came in the high 20s. Those are not comparable markets.
Right.
So for what it was at the time, I test drove a lot. It was the best car you could buy, and it modified really well. And we still have a lot of love for it. I'm still working on mine. I'm still excited about the new stuff that we're working on. It doesn't make sense financially anymore, but you know you got to do what you love sometimes.
Yeah. You were telling me the first time you came on that like how this all started was you saw this part online, you wanted to make it, so you brought it to Matt, and he was the one that actually made it, right?
Well, Matt and I were in the garage, and he's more mechanically inclined than I am, and we did a pulley swap. That was all Matt, actually.
What did you think of when this guy came over to you and he's like, "Hey, I want to start a place called ZZPerformance," where you're like, "No, you're crazy."
It wasn't like that.
How'd it go down?
The need was there. We put some parts on Zoom's car, and everybody else wanted them. And so then it presented itself.
Yeah.
And he just took hold of it and said, well, might as well go big.
Yeah. And you were just like, "Yeah, I'll come along for the ride."
For the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, I did my own thing on the side for a little while I worked full-time elsewhere, and then kind of joined in as it was taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt was in, you know, he's more in the development, has more understanding in the development than I do. We both have a heavy physics mindset, so we solve problems in the same way. But he already was working in a truck shop that his family owns, and he had a full set of tools, and he was just more capable. So when we set off to do this, we were each kind of exploring our own things and each learning, and it wasn't for some years when the business became a business that I took the lead in running the business.
How long was it in that weird space for? Where you guys were kind of like doing your thing on the side, but then it just went click. Like it's ZZPerformance now. Like a year, 2 years.
Yeah, a few years. There was never a day, you know, because we didn't know where it was going. It was one part, it was two, it was three, it was four. We were dealing with a lot of internal things, and businesses, you know, the things come gradual. We were working out of my garage. We rented a garage. We were working with floor jacks, and you know, Matt was still working full time, so he's putting in 50 hours a week at his job. Then he's putting in another probably 50 hours a week, you know, doing this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the business needed the segregation of tasks that we each jumped into the roles that we felt most comfortable with.
Yeah. You brought up like the whole 50-50. He was doing that much work. From my point of view, like from you, I know we wanted to touch base on this, like my generation workforce. Like in my head, I'm thinking, wow, like that's unbelievable that you're working 100 hours a week. But for you guys, it wasn't anything like, it was just normal to you guys.
I mean, it was hard. We were probably surpassing 100 hours actually, because it was 7 days a week. We were racing generally twice. We were working from when did you start in the morning?
6 or 7.
And we would work until sometimes 2 or 3.
Do you think that it helped that this was a passion of both of yours?
Yeah.
Because, like, I can't, like, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know if I could do 100 hours a week if I wasn't passionate about it. Like, you loved what you did at that time, or else you wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
Like, you weren't doing it for a paycheck.
No, it's competition.
Yeah.
You want to win.
So what do you think about the workforce nowadays? You could say it. This is an open-ended. As far as, like, you know, how hard people work, how soft people are, I will agree with you on that. I think that our generation...
Everybody wants a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't find their passion. That's why Zoom asks people to quit if they don't love it here.
Yeah, I was so blown away when I first heard that. Like, you were in a meeting and you were just like, if you don't love it here, go find your passion. I was like, huh. Never heard that from someone that would, like... Because you think in your mind, your CEO is like, oh, I want you to stay here. Like, I need you to stay here. Zoom is completely opposite. He's like, dude, if you don't want to fucking be here, you can peace out. Yeah. Because, like, at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself, which he's looking out for you in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, if you aren't happy somewhere, or this isn't your passion, you should go find it. Because obviously, look how happy you guys are, how successful you are in your guys' passion. So I think that's pretty unique.
Yeah, people, you know, you do hear a lot of like, oh, everybody's lazy these days. And I do think that newer generations are sold a big line of bullshit. So, you know, they have an unrealistic view when they go into the world. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that also people train younger people properly in the idea that if you're doing what you're passionate about, it's not going to be hard to work hard. And it's just going to come natural.
Right.
I mean, people that love what they do, you know, they spend a lot of time doing it. We have several people here that don't like taking vacations because the vacation just gives them stress because they want to come back and be involved in what's happening, especially when there's a lot of competition going on or, you know, some big event coming up.
Yeah, what do you think of our competition right now?
We haven't had any good competition in a while. And we're sort of at this bridge point because when we're in these niche markets, the smaller markets like we do, you know, the 1.4 is a small market, 3,800 small market, you know, Ecotech even is only, you know, some few millions of dollars. And then contrast that with markets like the LS market or the Ford Mustang market, you know, these big markets where you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, at stake in those markets. We are too big to really have a whole lot of competition from the backyard guys, even though they would like to think that they do. So we kind of poke around and have fun with those guys sometimes. But it's really hard to compete with a bigger company with our level of resources and background and 20 years experience. So it's pretty easy for us to knock those guys out. And that is kind of a bad thing. I mean, I got my start being small. I like to see those small guys come up, give them a little pressure and make sure they're putting forth their best. But we're trying to transition into competing at the larger scale. And it's like rebuilding the whole company over again because it's much harder to compete at big scale. You have to learn the logistics of, you know, much larger operations. You have to expand your employees, but yet still keep a team. And the level of competition is just astounding. You know, there are people that are just wicked smart out there in the higher end markets, and they choose to apply themselves. And it's exciting to work with them and compete against them and see what they're doing. And it raises the bar. And inside of ZZP, it can create some conflict because it requires our absolute best levels of performance from our absolute best players, and not everybody has, you know, 20 years of experience to be able to follow along. And so it can be annoying, and that's a bad thing. You know, it's not fair to be annoyed at someone for not having the same experience as you.
Right.
But you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of annoying to feel. Matt can probably attest to it. Like you're pulling the cart yourself, and it's hard because then you have to train the rest of the staff, and you don't want to. You just want to do it yourself.
Right. We have a lot of do-it-yourself guys here, which isn't a bad thing because at least someone wants to fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would rather have a bunch of do-it-yourself guys and be like, oh, let me teach you how to do this, people. So that's kind of a plus.
We're pretty similar, you know, whole team, strong team, and we all act eerily similar in many ways. And that working hard, doing it yourself, dive in, get it done, no excuse kind of thing just sort of permeated, and that becomes our culture. And I love it. It's great.
You said 20 years, Matt. What was the hardest time you had at ZZPerformance? You know, like when it comes to work, like was there a time where you're like, oh shit, in 2000 something, like this was like a hard market to take over, like, you know, the biggest challenge you had? 20 years, you probably got a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's inconsistent. It just goes up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, the hardest work was in the beginning because we had a lot of competition. And working 2 jobs. So there was a lot of all-nighters.
Yeah.
You got to have a car ready for the track the next day, and there's no engine in it.
Yeah.
It's midnight.
What made you think that, like, you guys, like, what put you guys over the edge from, like, becoming, like, one of the small businesses and taking over? Because there wasn't somebody at the top of the chain at that point, right? Everybody kind of started out equally at the same time because of the time that the car came out.
Well, the internet was first taking off, so nobody had a strong internet, real strong internet presence yet. I would say in the 3800 market, we started in last place. A lot of mockery and jokes
Never heard
about
that
us
before. Yeah.
Yeah. At the beginning, because there were several companies established, Thrasher, Ram Air Tech, parts for your car, and you know we or me, you know, just some scrappy kid with a big mouth who doesn't know anything, who's just going to be out of business in 3 months kind of deal. But they were wrong.
Super wrong.
Super wrong.
Look at us now. Big old building, looking at another building. Speaking of another building, what do you want in the new building? You have your own bay here. You got your own office. You got to tell me what's one thing that you're like, damn, I wish I had that here.
I'd like to have the dyno over here.
Ooh.
Or an all-wheel drive dyno.
Ooh.
Even better.
You wouldn't be able to move the dyno we have, right?
Well, we want an all-wheel drive dyno.
Okay.
So I imagine that's what we'll do in the new building.
Right.
Or maybe we'll have 2 dynos.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's up with this story I was hearing about this 2008 Cobalt market or something? Want to touch base on that?
That was my tough time. And we had this converging sequence of what for me was bad stuff happening. So I was breaking up with my girlfriend at the time. Business was like down because the economy was down, and we were entering into the second market for ZZPerformance, because just because you're successful in one market, which we were in the 3800 market, it doesn't mean that you're going to duplicate it in the next one. Because I was mocked at first, and we were told we were going to die and didn't know anything and this and that. And then when it became apparent that we had won and we were fairly established, then it was, well, I'd like to see you try that in another market. You know, it's you're one trick pony. It's not going to happen for you again. And so we started in the Ecotech market, and it didn't go well from the beginning. That was 2005, and we kind of had a half-ass effort. It didn't go well. So 2008, I'm down and out, and I'm thinking, like, this just isn't worth it. Like, I have so much risk, and I'm working so many hours, and if this thing fails, I'm going to owe everybody all this money, and it's all going to collapse. I could just coast it out, make good money until this 3800 thing, you know, carries itself out, or, you know, go all in and build ZZP into something great and something big, because it wasn't the plan from day one to build this great big company. In fact, it wasn't even a plan to have a company. You know, when Matt and I got started, and there was actually another guy with us. We were just guys, just doing stuff and making parts and racing cars, and
guy doing guy things.
There was no real plan, and it formulated itself as it went, and then it just became this company, and the growth was explosive. But I was afraid to lose it all. You know, I was super afraid to lose. But Matt, you know, when I pitched it to the guys, I had a team meeting. I was like, look, guys, here's where it is. Like, you know, I got all this stuff going on. I'm scared. And, you know, I don't know if I want to, like, risk everything to go after this next market and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Matt brings a new perspective and gave his input and said, if we're going to go after this market, we have to go all in on the market. That's the only way we're going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
We can't just think because we have a brand name, it's going to follow us. And we make that mistake a lot. And I said, well, here's what I need from you guys. And I realize it's asking you to sacrifice a lot, and it's going to be a big investment again. And at the time, it was doing a lot of work for free. And, we weren't nearly as big as we are now. And, Matt was the one that he's the reason we're all here, actually,
Matt, what goes through your head when Zoom comes up to you and he says, hey, I got this crazy idea? Because I feel like that's like the start of the sentence. What goes through your head like, oh shit, here goes another one?
No, that's when it gets fun.
Yeah? And you're just like, yeah. I mean, I guess you've been ride for long at a time. I don't know how to say that. What is it? Whatever.
Been along for the ride.
Yeah, for a long time already. So you probably just are used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but
yeah,
like when he comes in and says we need to test out the new Ecotech short block and keep turning it up until it breaks, that's fun.
Yeah, I guess it's no sweat off your back.
I don't think anybody thought we'd get up to 900 horsepower.
We got that thing up to a 900 horsepower.
To the wheels, 898. To the tire.
Maybe that's why nobody can touch us, because we got a Matt Meekoff.
1,000 horse.
And that took a couple weeks to get it all, put the right parts on there.
Yeah. What's one market you would want to have gone after?
I think we did it pretty well.
But there's no car that you're like, oh, I wish that we would have grabbed that one sooner.
No, you kind of have to warm up for the big ones.
Yeah.
Like
What do you want to get into next?
Well, as we move into the V8 stuff, it'll be pretty big.
That's huge.
Yeah.
But you currently race a 4-cylinder, is that correct?
For a customer, yeah.
What do you think of that car?
It's fast.
Bad boy.
Yeah.
You like the color of it?
Yeah.
What do you think about Tyler's new wheels?
Don't like them.
I knew that was coming.
It's terrible.
What about you? Honestly, what'd you think at first and then after you saw it?
So I'm the worst aesthetics guy in the world. I can't pick colors for the wall, carpeting, wheels, clothes, nothing.
You got people for that,
I traded the part of my brain that can do that, maybe for some analytical processing power or something. I don't know.
Seems like a cool trade-off.
So yeah, I'm not the person to ask, and I always remove myself from the input of aesthetics inside the company. But to me, when I look at it, I'm like, why would you put green wheels on a blue car? Or a car that has blue? Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me. It looks ridiculous to me. I'm with Matt in that I just don't like it at all. But I do appreciate its audacity, and I like how it pops, and I love the idea of seeing what our younger guys are doing, and I like seeing them go crazy. Like, because I'm a little bit more conservative. I think Matt is probably a little more conservative, and it takes a team to build a successful effort, and if everybody's the same, you miss out on all of these different segments. And so I want to be able to capture all that. So, maybe it's a great thing that, it's not our forte. We don't have to do every car the same. If Tyler says it's great and you think it's great, then I think it's great too.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Maybe I'm on your guys' side. Sorry, Tyler, but I was pressing for the blue color. I thought the blue was gonna look sick. I know Tyler's gonna be so pissed when this video comes out. But I like the green. Don't get me wrong. But I was pressing for the blue.
It looks to me like it was done intentionally. Like it's just intentionally outrageous.
Well, the wrap is outrageous already.
Yeah.
It looks sweet though, but it's an outrageous car now, so you might as well throw some green wheels on it.
Maybe. Yeah. What do I know?
Yeah. Oh, you know a lot. Don't push.
No, I mean, but ultimately, I'm the one that approved it. So, I like to give people autonomy. Like, if I was controlling everything, we'd fail. So, you have to empower the people to get their talent. Talent isn't about telling people what to do. It's about empowering them to be able to do what they want to do.
Right.
And that's what makes our company great. And that's what makes it fun for people like you that get to
do cool things like this.
Do cool things like this.
I do think it's pretty unique that from a CEO standpoint, I feel like when I watch like videos of CEOs going around their companies and stuff, like so many people are afraid to like test them, you know what I mean? Or even like test Matt Meekoff. I hear walking through like the front office downstairs, you're like, oh fuck, like I don't want to go bring this to this guy. But at the end of the day, like people test you guys all the time. And like you don't get rewarded for it, but it's almost like you almost gain more of a respect for having like a backbone, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you would appreciate me coming to you and saying like that was a stupid fucking idea, and then you would appreciate even if I'm wrong, you know what I mean? Or if someone brought something to Matt saying like this tune doesn't work, and it obviously does work, you'd have more respect to someone coming there saying it to your face and being like, all right, we'll just let this go on whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're allowed to speak your mind.
Yeah,
you're gonna be.
You won't get in trouble for it.
No,
Yeah.
I've had people come to my office, flip me off, fuck you, Zoom, fuck you, fuck this place. Walk out, peel out, cool off. They come back. There's no penalty for that, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to penalize somebody for having, being emotional if they're passionate about their idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're not coming at me like just on a personal attack for the sake of being an asshole. They're coming at me like that because they're passionate about how they feel and about what they believe. And that's what I want in this company. That's what I like to drive this company. So when you feel slighted, angry, you've got an opinion. A lot of times it's on what we should be doing and why. I always want people to voice that. Matt and I have real strong personalities. You go into Matt, tell him that he's doing something wrong. You're probably going to get punched in the face, proverbially speaking, because he's pretty good and he's usually right.
Let's go with his hands.
But he still wants you to present your idea.
Right.
And he doesn't want it to turn into, and I'm kind of speaking for you, but, like me, he's okay with that. But you better be right. You better bring your A game because it's going to be a battle until the best idea rises to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of place this is. Like, it's not a place where you have to squash your ideas down because some head honcho said, well, nope, this is just the way that it's going to be. We don't do that.
Yeah.
You come with your idea, the idea stands on its own. It could be your first day. If you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. You might get blasted though.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah, you might get blasted.
Matt, 20 years, probably a lot of battles with Zoom. We won't go into what type of battles they were about, but what makes you not jump ship and stay on the whole time? I mean, obviously this company is as much as yours as Zoom. That's what Zoom always says. So.
That's a tough one to answer.
Maybe he wants to leave.
Where else would I go?
Who else would take us? That's what I was thinking. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, I'm doing what I want to do. There's no other place to do that around here. So, I mean, where would I go?
That's true.
But I didn't work here.
I guess there's only one place for Matt Meekoff.
Yeah.
That's ZZPerformance. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. It was a great time. I'm not going to drink the rest of this. This tastes horrible. I don't know how you drink this all the time. So, thanks, guys. We'll be back next week.